Hi, welcome to the 8th tutorial in the Make Wordle with Python tutorial series. Last time we made this logic here that we've printed on the screen as a large comment to set up the behaviors that we expect to happen, and now we're going to make them happen. To make them happen, we'll scroll down a little bit, and here in our loop where we're printing the letters green and gray, instead of printing them green and gray, I'm going to comment those things out for the moment. We're going to come up here, and inside of our for loop, we're going to create, outside of our for loop, we will create something called word without CPL, meaning word without correctly placed letter. So every time we have a new guess, we're going to create an empty string that says that's word without correctly placed letter. And then for the guess letter, word letter, and zip list guess list word, right now we're going to construct the word without the correctly placed letters. So we can delete all that space there. So if the guess letter is the word letter, right, if we have a good guess, then we want to put an empty space there. So we'll say word without correctly placed letter plus equals and just a space. If the word without correctly placed letter, if it's the other condition, right, the guess letter is not the word letter, then we want to actually put the word letter there. All right. And then over here, we will print, and inside there we'll print the word without correctly placed letter. Okay, so let's just do this to see what we see at the moment. So if we guess arrow, all right, we've turned off all the green, but it's removing the letters we think. If we guess break, it removes the letters we think. If we guess RRR, it removes the letters we think. And all right, so far so good. So far it's at least removing the letters we think it should remove. So that's good. I'm going to suggest that we copy this loop and just make a duplicate. In Notepad, I just hit Control D to do that. And then we'll uncomment out these things and comment that out. Uncomment out, or comment all that stuff out. So we don't want to do anything more with word without correctly placed letter. But here in the middle, we want to have an else if behavior. Sorry. Else if the guess letter is in the word, without correctly placed letters, colon, now we want to print back the letter yellow. So we'll copy this, print back green. I don't know what is happening. Control. My computer is having a seizure. Control C, Control V. All right. That was harder than it needed to be. But we don't want it to be green. We want to print yellow. Okay, and that's something we set up the yellow earlier, up here somewhere. Yeah, yellow. Yellow is back.yellow. Okay. Okay, now this will not be the correct behavior, but let's assume that we thought it was, and we were like, oh yes, we're all set, let's go. And we'll test it. All right, so we're gonna guess arrow. All right, so far so good. We're gonna guess break. So far so good. The R is correct, the E is not. Everything looks good. R, 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 R. 3 green R's, just like we expect. R, 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 X. Okay, this is not correct, right? We've got 2 green R's and 2 yellow R's, but we thought we should only have 1 yellow R and 1 gray R. And so what did we do wrong? How do we fix that? Well, what happened is that we satisfied this criteria that the guess letter was in the word without correctly placed letter twice. because the letter was in the word. We had 2 extra R's, and it was in there, but we didn't remove it once we had sorted it out, and that's what we need to do. So we print back yellow, and then we need to go through a convoluted 3-step process. We're going to convert word without correctly placed letter into a list. Then we're going to remove the letter. Word without correctly placed letter dot remove, and we're going to remove the guess letter. We've established that it's in the word, so it must be able to be removed. The reason that we're converting it to a list rather than using something like dot replace, which is a good thing to replace letters in strings, is because for just the reason that we're showing here, if we replaced all of them, then we wouldn't have the right behavior. Perhaps we want to remove will only remove the first instance of this happening, while replace would remove all instances of an R in the word in this case, or whatever the guess letter was. So now we need to convert it back into a string. So we say word without CPL equals, and we'll say empty string dot join word without correctly placed letter. All right, so this is our little 3-step process to convert a string to a list, remove the first instance of our guess letter, and then convert the list back to a string. Okay? It's a handy trick if you ever need to convert lists into strings and so on. So let's guess again. And the word is still error, AROW, and BREAK. So far, so good. RRRR, and RRRRX. Boom. So now we have the expected behavior. The first R turned up yellow, the second R turned up gray. So our logic is in place, and we're removing the correct letters in the correct order, as far as I'm concerned. So now we just need to add in a little bit more logic. We need to make sure that the game knows, when did we win the game? Did we guess the right word, right? If I guess error, it still asks me for guess 6 and says, well, keep going, son. So we need to add in some logic that says you won the game. And there's probably some other things we need to do as well, but that's going to be probably the next thing we do, is just setting up that win. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.